Hey, this is Mariela from The Functional Company. All right, today I want to talk about finding your ideal diet. I've mentioned this before, I've touched on this before, and I'll probably touch on it again because it's kind of like the overall theme of my personal viewpoint. After seeing so many different patients, so many different bodies, I used to have the idea, like a very fixed idea, like everybody has to eat this way, this is the right way to eat. And then somebody would come to me and I'd be like, okay, apply this. And then they wouldn't get the same results. And I'd be like, huh. And then I would just try to force it until I realized you really have to keep looking, keep learning, and keep experimenting until you find what is the ideal diet. Of course, you have some basic principles with which to work, and also those indicators that are going to tell you if you're headed in the right direction. So one of those very basic principles has to do with the blood sugar. If you haven't watched that episode, it's one of the earliest episodes that I have. It's one of the most important principles of the body, is how blood sugar works. When you think with that, it's a very important thing to understand what you're looking for in terms of how the body responds. But let me just share some other indicators. Things that we're looking for, we want to have sustained energy throughout the day. We don't want to have all these dips in energy in the middle of the day. On top of that, we want to have good restful sleep. You wake up and you feel rested. On top of that, you also want to have good mental focus, good hormones, strong nails, strong hair, good skin, but you want to have your ideal weight. You don't want to be gaining weight. You definitely do not want to have sugar cravings. You want those to go away completely. You want to eat and be satisfied with your meal. These are the main things that are going to point you in the direction of, are you going towards your ideal diet or not? For some of you, you're going to be in a keto plus intermittent fasting area. Some of you might be carnivore keto. Some of you might be just intermittent fasting with a little bit higher carbohydrates. So, there's a little bit of differences between people. Some of you might be lower protein and a lot more vegetables. You kind of have to find what works for you. But the main thing here is just make sure if you're starting to get more cravings, you have tons of fixed attention on food, you feel satisfied for an hour and then you're hungry again, those are not good indicators because those are saying there's something wrong with the blood sugar, right? So, but if you know you're feeling satisfied, you're feeling good, don't let anybody knock off your certainty on what your sweet spot is. So I have a cousin and I love his viewpoint because one of the things he does is he's just like, okay, I'm gonna try this because this is making sense. Like I'm gonna try keto or intermittent fasting or something, and I'm gonna see how it works. So he would apply something and he would call me and say, hey, okay, so I'm gonna do this. What do you think about it? And I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds really good, interesting. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So he'll do it and he'll apply it for like a week or two, and then he'll report back and he'll say, okay, so check it out. I took out dinner, I did intermittent fasting. I noticed if I don't eat dinner, I wake up in the morning awesome with tons of energy, but then I added dinner back in and I wake up sluggish. So I know for my body, it really works to not eat dinner or eat very early dinner and have a huge gap in the evening, and I just feel great that way. So he's finding what his sweet spot is, right? He's going back to the drawing board, and then he's also observing the real results in his body. Because there are a few things that we're looking for, right? We know we want to have really good energy throughout the day. We want to have good restful sleep, right? And we want to have good mental focus. On top of that, we want to get to our ideal weight. We shouldn't be gaining weight, and we definitely should not have blood sugar problems or sugar cravings where we're hangry or every 2 or 3 hours we need to eat because something, we just feel like hungry again. So all those things should be eliminated. You should feel satisfied with your meals, right? So this is going to be a little different for every person. Some people are going to feel great with keto plus intermittent fasting. Some people are going to feel great with carnivore plus keto, or carnivore is pretty much keto already, right? Some people are going to feel great with intermittent fasting with a little bit higher carbs, not crazy amount of carbs, but just higher than the keto area, right? So you kind of have to play with this. Some people feel great with tons of vegetables and less animal protein. What the main point here is that you want to find your sweet spot by experimenting and really looking to see what works for you. So what I love about this guy, one of my cousins, is that he really does this. He gets some information, he really analyzes it, and then he applies it. And then he's like, okay, that didn't really work really well. Now let me see what I have to change. And then he tries something else like, oh my gosh, this works fantastic. I feel great. He added some powdered organic greens into his diet. He's like, man, I love this because I'm a very busy guy. I'm a businessman. I got to travel. I don't always have the luxury of cooking up vegetables, but I want to have some greens. He added that into his diet and he feels great. He feels he has this good mineral supply. So anyway, he's kind of just like playing with his diet and finding out what works for him. So what works for him might not be the exact diet that's going to work for you. But the way that he's going about it is the way that I really encourage people to go about it. Get some information that makes sense to you, apply it for enough time. That means not just a day or two. You got to apply it for a few weeks, because remember, we're getting past the soreness of exercise, past the beginning phase of a transition where you're training your body, you're asking it to do something with it, right? With all of the nutrients that you're giving it. So a month later, you got to analyze, how's my mood? How's my energy? How are my sugar cravings? How's my mental focus? How's my sleep? You know, all of these things together are going to give you indicators of whether or not you're in the right direction. If you are, continue. Don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is wrong when you have all of the actual real life indicators that whatever it is that you're applying is right. Listen and look, right? That's going to be the basic thing. What's true for you is true for you. It might not be the exact same truth as the person next to you, but that's why it's not their truth, it's your truth. So always learn to look, learn to really observe, learn to get some information and apply it for enough of a time that you get a result. And then if you know you're not getting good results, like let's say you try something and then you're like, okay, this worked for about a week or so, but now I've been doing it for 3 months and I'm gaining weight and I feel more tired and I have tons of cravings. So I have to change something. Those are indicators that you're not going in the right direction. We know we do not want to have blood sugar problems at all. So this is all I'm saying, you know, when you're finding your sweet spot, I'm just giving you different tools, lots of information, resources and things like that you can kind of check out and pull from to actually apply into your life and figure out what your ideal diet is. For some people, it's going to be a lot of vegetables, less animal protein. For some people, it's no vegetables at all, 100% carnivore. For some people, it's going to be some combination somewhere there in the middle. It's going to be generally moderate to low carb or keto, and then some amount of fasting. You got to figure out what's going to work for you with the fasting as well. But the fasting is a fantastic tool. So just try on all these things, learn to observe, figure out what your sweet spot is, and then continuously observe, because something could work for a month and then boom, 2 years down the line, you have all these negative indicators, which sometimes happens for people, for example, on the vegan diet. Not saying it's happening for everybody, but it's something that happens. They try it on for a little bit, it works really well, they continue and it works okay, and then over time, it's like the body is not regenerating at the same capacity. And so if you have cravings, you're gaining weight, your nails are brittle, you're wrinkling faster, you're tired, those are indicators your body is saying something is up, you need to change something. So just learn to listen to your body and then just keep going. You're doing a great job, you're here, you're learning a lot, and just keep tweaking, keep experimenting. That'll take you to your ideal diet, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise from what you know is right for you. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the flip side.